Welcome to Season 1 of The Illuminated Page, a program for readers, writers, and ignorance fighters. Today we will be talking about literature, books, book-related things, what certain authors do well, and how we can analyze those things and implement them ourselves in our writing. Memory has a basic tolerance, which is why phone numbers are only 7 digits. Now, originally, when people memorized phone numbers, they had a hard time stringing together unrelated numbers. So phone numbers were limited at 7 digits. Words are different. We can string together more than 7 words at a time, which is why you can memorize poetry and your teacher has you memorize the preamble to the Constitution and so forth. However, the brain does have a basic tolerance for how much information it can take in at one time. If I'm going to write a complicated idea, I should say it in the simplest way possible. Sentences that are structurally complex and informationally chunky should be put together Sentences should be put together in such a way that people who read them can understand them simply. Therefore, if I'm writing a sentence that's heavy on information, I should say it in the simplest way possible. There are a couple of writers who do this really well. Nonfiction, you're looking at Miroslav Volf, his book Exclusion and Embrace. You read that, he says really complicated theological things in really simple sentences. When you put your sentences together, make sure that the information is in such a way that your readers don't become confused partway through your sentence and have to go back and read them again. Linguist Steven Pinker discusses this in his book The Language Instinct. He says there's a limit to how far we can get through a sentence before our temporary memory gives out. It's kind of like Bluetooth headphones. You can only get so far from the source of whatever's playing the music or playing the podcast that you're listening to. Your brain can only get so far from the beginning of the sentence before the end of the sentence stops making sense. So put your sentences together in such a way that they don't cause the brain to snap partway through. I have some examples of what I'm talking about here. Listen to this sentence. She explained the dream that she had been having all week to her mother. Now, that little bit "to her mother" at the end, there's actually nothing wrong with putting it there grammatically. However, your brain has to keep in temporary storage the fact that she explained. Explained is separated from "to her mother" by quite some distance. By moving "to her mother" closer, you actually make your sentence easier for your readers. She explained to her mother the dream that she had been having every day that week. The danger when you move things around in your sentence is that you could create a misplaced modifier. If you have trouble with misplaced modifiers, I would refer you to Strunk White, The Elements of Style, section 20, which deals with that in more detail and gives plenty of examples that I don't want to take the time for right now. Now, no one does complexity quite like Charles Dickens. He has complex characters, complex book structures, and complex sentences. In his books, tons of characters. Some would say too many. Why? So that he can show how all their lives relate to each other. Complex sentences, some would say too complex, and yet they can be read easily without readers getting lost in the middle of the clauses. Complex characters, complex sentences, yet everybody loves him. Why? Because he does it well. And that's the key, doing it well. Whatever we do, we want to do well. Please cut that part. This is so much harder than I thought it would be. If it's September 29th, or the book is already up for pre-order, you can check out my book Collapsible, a novel of friendship, broken bones, coffee, shenanigans, and the occasional murder. If it's not September 29th yet, or the book's not up for pre-order, just remember, patience is a virtue. See you next week. I'm gonna die.